Welcome back once again to Good Morning Central Oregon. A very timely topic, how to prepare your kids for school. And joining me is the darling pediatrician, Dr. Jennifer B. Warton from the Ben Memorial Clinic. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you've just got a precious demeanor. I imagine children just delight in coming to see Dr. Warner.
Thank you.
Yes, and you've got some great ideas for us to cover. In fact, I have a couple questions for you. One thing we were thinking about is how much sleep do kids need each night, and then how can parents prepare them for back to school in that routine before it gets started?
That is a very good question because we are getting close. School starts on Tuesday for most kids. Yeah. And so we're actually a little late on that. I usually actually try and get parents to get kids about a week ahead of time into back to their normal school routine. And sometimes you can just kind of move their bedtimes progressively forward so you get to that set time. And you know, kids need a lot of sleep, and kids in America, we know that a lot of them don't get enough sleep that they need. And a good rule of thumb is kindergarten age needs about anywhere from 10 to 12 hours of sleep a night. So they really got to get to bed early. And then the younger school age need about 10 to 11 hours of sleep per night. And then even the teenagers still need 8 to 9. And some kids, including some athletes or kids with other, other activities, may need even more sleep than that. And those can be the hard ones. Those teenagers like to stay up late. And so really getting them to like a 9 o'clock bedtime is important because schools start really early. So I just have parents, move the bedtime and then try and get a good routine going, about an hour before bedtime. Try and turn off the TVs, other stimulating things, reading time, family time, things to kind of get the kids chilled out for bed. And a good way to know for parents if their kids are getting enough sleep, and this doesn't really apply to the teenagers because they'll sleep no matter what, but the school age kids, if you're having to wake them up every morning for school, they're probably not getting enough sleep because school age kids are usually ready to go in the morning. The teenagers, they'll sleep all day if they could, so that doesn't really count for them.
This I know, I have one of those.
Yeah.
And it's true, they need just as much sleep almost as the elementary and younger at that age. It's kind of a reversal happens again.
Right, it's a huge growth spurt again. Growth and development is really, going on that time, so they need a lot of sleep.
Well, thank you for reminding us of all of that and those good tips. Well, here's another factor, important safety reminders about going back to school. What do you want to cover there? Because that's a huge factor.
It is. I think the big things I usually think about, one is transportation. So how is the kid going to get to school? If the kids are going to be walking to school, especially if they're really young, haven't done the route before, I usually tell parents probably for the first week, walk with the little ones, get them used to the route. Of course, any intersection should have a crossing guard. No kid should cross an intersection by themselves without one. It's funny, walking with a buddy is actually pretty good. I was just thinking about my neighborhood. I live right behind an elementary school, and usually the kids start out, I was talking to one of my neighbors the other day, and she said the kids start out, singly, and then by the time they get to school, it's like a pack, this pack of elementary school kids coming to school, which is good. Safety in numbers is good. Thinking about the kids that are going to do bikes, skateboards, of course, need helmets, and parents should wear helmets too if they're going to bike with them. And then anybody in the car, so this is a good time to start talking about or reminding about car seats. The new recommendation by the American Academy of Pediatrics is up to age 2 now is actually facing backwards in the back seat. Wow. And then up to age 4 can be in a convertible but still in a car seat, and up to age 8 and 4'8" should be in a booster seat. And then everybody else's seat belts, anybody under 13 is in the back seat. And it's also a good time to go over things with your teenagers again, especially teenagers are going to be driving to school. No cell phones, no texting, limit friends, things like that, to make sure our teens get to school safely.
Absolutely, and stay alert. So keeping up with the role of nutrition and school performance, let's talk quickly about that.
Yeah. So we know that kids obviously need good food. Your brain is working a mile a minute in school and it needs a lot of fuel. And so one of the big things is breakfast. And I always encourage my kids to eat. In fact, parents should mandate that their kids eat breakfast because there's great studies that show that kids eat breakfast do much better on tests than kids who don't. And we always hear from the kids, especially the teenagers, I'm not hungry in the morning.
I know.
And it doesn't matter. Your brain doesn't know that. Your brain functions on glucose. So if you don't get food and you don't get fuel in the morning, then they're not going to do as well. And usually by the time a couple periods have gone by and they eat, they've missed those periods. So I always say if it's a granola bar, a banana, an apple, whatever, just grab something as you're running out the door because they're going to do better.
That's right.
Yeah.
Some great power bars. Well, we're pretty much out of time. We have just a couple seconds, but do they all need physicals before school starts, yes or no?
Yes. American Academy of Pediatrics recommends school sports physicals for everybody.
Perfect.
Birth to teenagers.
Perfect. Well, I know we're going to have more information so that they can check out more about what you're sharing with us today. So you can go to their website at benmemorialclinic.com or give them a call at 541-382-2811. So thank you, Dr. Warton.
Christy.
Yeah, absolutely. So